Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great. I'm Rohit from careersprints.com and we like to make videos that help you with your professional development and continuous learning. Now in this video, I want to cover the differences between three popular certifications, which are the PMP, that is the Project Management Professional, versus the CSM, which is Certified Scrum Master, versus the PSM, which is Professional Scrum Master by scrum.org. Further, I'm going to talk about which certification you should consider first for your corporate career. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel using the red subscribe button if you would like to see similar videos from us. Also, before I move on, I just quickly wanted to talk about the free PMP virtual class we conduct a couple of times a month. Now, in this free class, we cover a lot of useful information about the PMP, such as changes that have been made to the PMP exam in 2021, the books and resources that you can leverage for the PMP certification exam, any pitfalls that you should avoid while preparing for the PMP, and all the necessary steps that you need to take to get your PMP certification in the first try successfully. Additionally, we also teach a free chapter from the PMBOK as well in this class. So go ahead and register for this class. The link for it is in the description below. So a lot of people reach out to me asking which certification should they go for first and which certification is relevant for their careers. Well, the answer is that it really depends. But before I answer that question, let's look at each certification individually and see where they apply. So the first certification that I want to talk about is the PMP certification, or the Project Management Professional certification by the Project Management Institute. So the PMP certification has been around since the 1980s. It has undergone several different versions of the exam, and the current version for the PMP exam was released only recently in 2021. Now, in the current version of the PMP exam, a lot of agile concepts have been introduced. In fact, more than 50% of the PMP exam is now agile. Well, until last year, until 2020, the PMP exam was more focused on predictive or waterfall style projects. But from 2021, the PMP exam has now become a mix of hybrid projects, waterfall projects, as well as agile projects. So a lot of the questions will come from all these three areas, and a lot of questions in the PMP exam are going to be situational. Now, one of the things about the PMP certification exam is that it's a fairly difficult certification. It is in fact a gold standard for anyone looking at getting a project management certification in the industry. Even if you go to any popular job site like Indeed.com, or if you just run a search on Google, you would see that a lot of jobs would ask for a project management professional certification, especially if the job title says project manager. So whether you're looking for a project coordinator role, a project manager role, or even if you're looking at a role which has some similarity to project management, they would ask you for a PMP. Or even if they don't, it would be better to actually have a PMP certification when you're applying for those jobs. So like I said, the PMP certification takes a couple of weeks or a couple of months to prepare for. So it's a difficult certification. As you can see, there are a total of 180 questions in the exam, and the time limit for the exam is nearly 4 hours. So not many people are used to doing 4-hour exams, especially late in their careers. So a lot of people who are taking the PMP certification exam are spending quite a bit of time preparing for the PMP exam. Now, another thing about the PMP that you should know is that the PMP certification requires you to have some work experience behind you. So if you're just a student, or if you've just graduated, or if you don't have inner work experience, you may not even be eligible to apply for the PMP. As a bare minimum, to apply to PMI for the PMP exam, you need a work experience of at least 3 years. So having said that, the PMP certification is a super popular certification in the industry. In fact, even the salaries for people who are PMPs, are significantly higher, and they're above at least $100,000. Especially if you have a couple of years of experience behind you. But having said that, the PMP certification exam is definitely is like a marathon, and it's harder to get. So the next certification I want to talk about is the CSM certification. So the CSM certification is another certification that has become popular in the last 10 to 15 years. And the CSM certification is offered by Scrum Alliance, right? So Scrum Alliance has different levels of Scrum Master certifications, but the CSM certification is the go-to Scrum Master certification for anyone looking at a Scrum title, in their jobs, or looking at acquiring, a Scrum certification. So if you see, the CSM certification normally requires you to attend a program, like a classroom program, to actually even get the certification. So the CSM certification cannot be attained if you do not go and sit for a classroom program by a certified Scrum trainer from Scrum Alliance. So although it's just a 2-day class, at the end of the class you will have to sit for a test. So in the test you will have 50 multiple choice questions, and you will have 1 hour to complete the test. And if you fail it, you can try the test one more time. So you basically get 2 attempts to the CSM certification as well. Now, see, the CSM certification is also very, very popular. It was in fact started by the people who founded Scrum. And many people in the world are already CSM certified. And in fact, when you go to LinkedIn, or when you just go online, you would see that a lot of jobs will ask you to have both the CSM as well as the PMP certification. Now, one of the things about the CSM certification is that the CSM certification focuses on Scrum. So if you're looking at a career in Scrum, if you're applying to the job of a Scrum Master, or if you're looking at working in a Scrum team, or if your organization is following Scrum, you probably are better off getting the CSM certification. Also, the CSM certification can be acquired just in 2 days by sitting for a CSM class, where you would be taught everything about the Scrum framework, like the Scrum roles, the Scrum artifacts, the Scrum events. And basically in those 2 days, at least you can get a fundamental understanding of Scrum, and you can acquire the certification right after you finish the class, or on the last day of the class. So this is a very good certification to have for anyone who does not have any work experience, because for the CSM certification there are no prerequisites from a work experience standpoint. Even if you're a fresh graduate, or if you have zero work experience in IT as well, you can still go ahead and get your CSM certification. However, you would notice that Scrum is widely used in the world of software development or information technology, or those kind of jobs, which means that if you're looking at a career in IT, you're better off getting a CSM certification. All right. Now, the next certification that I wanted to talk about was the PSM certification, which in fact is a competitor to the CSM certification. Now, the PSM certification is actually offered by scrum.org, right? And just to go back into a little bit of the history of Scrum. So scrum.org was actually founded by Ken Schwaber, and Ken Schwaber was one of the founders of Scrum, along with Jeff Sutherland. So Ken Schwaber, probably had his own reasons, or a fallout with with the Scrum Alliance community, and and that's why the PSM certification, or scrum.org as a company, was born, right? And basically, the PSM certification is slightly different from the way CSM certification is really done. In the PSM certification, you don't really necessarily need to go and sit for a classroom course. Anyone can actually just go to the scrum.org website, go through the list of books and resources that need to be followed for the PSM certification, read them, and can directly apply for the exam and take the exam from home. Right now, the PSM certification is actually a harder certification as compared to the CSM certification, right? At least the certification test. Now, if you look at the PSM certification, you just have 60 minutes and you have to complete 80 questions. So you actually have less than 1 minute per question for the PSM exam. Now, the pass percentage is also very high. So the bar is 85%, which means you need to get at least 68 correct answers to pass the PSM. Having said that, many people in the world have passed the PSM certification. Nearly 500,000 people, already have the PSM certification. And one of the things about the PSM certification is that, when you go and read online, or even when I talk to people, I see that because the exam is harder, it really tests your understanding of Scrum. Now, the thing with CSM is that you may be sitting in the class, you may be working in a collaborative fashion, because CSM classes are more collaborative, and, a lot of activities happen in the class, but the test is not very rigorous. And because the test is not very rigorous, you may not be 100% sure after the class whether you really understood Scrum that well, which is a void that is filled in by the PSM certification. So because the test is hard and there are multiple choice questions, there are multiple response questions, and the testing type is also harder, plus the time limit is lesser, and you have to do more questions in a lesser time span, the PSM certification, definitely is a better certification to have, at least to really test your knowledge on Scrum. So if you're looking at a cheaper way to get certified, you can consider getting the Professional Scrum Master certification, because you don't necessarily have to sit for a physical class. You can just go and find an online course for yourself, or you can just read the Scrum guide yourself, solve a couple of mock papers, and you can go and sit for the test. Whereas for the CSM certification, you compulsorily have to spend at least $800 to $1,000 to sit for the class and then take the exam. So the choice is really yours. In terms of popularity, I would say the CSM certification may be slightly more popular than the PSM, but having said that, the PSM is gaining a lot of popularity in the last couple of years, and it is as mainstream a certification as the CSM. So whether you get the PSM or the CSM, it wouldn't really matter. If your company is going to pay for your training, yeah, maybe you can consider getting the CSM certification, but if you've got to pay it out of your own pocket, just go and get the Professional Scrum Master. Anyways, a 2 days training can only teach you so much about Scrum, right? At the end of the day, you will have to take this back to your company, and you will have to implement it for a couple of weeks or for a couple of months to really understand how to apply the entire Scrum framework to your workplace. So, and in my conclusion, I would just say, look at, who's paying for this, and then make that decision. Right. But, the main question that we are trying to answer here is whether you should get the PMP or you should get a Scrum certification. And I'm going to just lump CSM and PSM together because they are both Scrum certifications. So, the main question is that if you are looking at a career switch, or if you, are looking at getting into a company where Agile is being used, or you're looking at a Scrum Master role, your first choice should be getting a Scrum certification. The reason is simple, that it is faster to get these certifications. You can get them out of the way within a week. So you're better off starting out with a Scrum certification, and then later on, in maybe over a period of 6 months or to a year, you can plan for your PMP certification, and you can get that as well. What I can tell you is that a lot of people who are, who have bumped up their salaries, or who are generally doing well in their careers, normally contain or have both the PSM, CSM, or the PMP certification. So basically, they have a Scrum certification and they also have a PMP certification. Definitely, I would still say that the PMP certification has a lot of value, just because of the journey that you go through to get your PMP certification. So the harder the journey, the more valuable the certification in the industry. So you can just do your own research online, and you would see that a lot of people actually ask for both certifications. So that's pretty much about the PMP versus the Scrum certifications, and which ones you should be getting first. So there you go. I've just covered one of the most popular questions in the industry that most professionals ask when they are planning for their careers. Now, before you go, I wanted to quickly reiterate about the free PMP virtual class that we conduct twice every month, where we answer all the burning questions that you might have about the PMP certification exam. So if you haven't registered yet, please do so using the link in the description below. Additionally, if you are in the middle of preparing for the PMP exam, here's a useful course that you can leverage on for understanding all the Agile portions in the PMP exam. Now, this course has been designed by me and has proven to be very useful for people who are currently preparing for all the Agile elements in the PMP exam. This course is based on the Agile Practice Guide, which is the primary resource to be used for tackling Agile questions in the PMP certification exam. In fact, this is the only course on Udemy which is based off the Agile Practice Guide and covers all the Agile portions for the PMP certification exam. So the link for this is in the description below, so you can go ahead and register for this course on Udemy. Lastly, I wanted to also give a shout out to our PMP exam psychology in-class course that we are planning to start very soon. Now in this class, we will discuss the mindset needed to tackle different types of PMP questions. For example, situational questions, agile questions, hybrid project questions, and even all the hard PMP questions that you would need to have an understanding of to be able to tackle them well in the exam. Also, 9 out of 10 students who have passed the PMP exam swear by having a good understanding of the mindset needed to crack the PMP exam. And our goal is to help you develop that mindset. Plus, in this class, we will have a lot of collaboration opportunities with other project managers and other PMP aspirants. So you can go ahead and register for this 10 to 12 hour in-class activity or our PMP Psychology course by sending us an email at info@careersprints.com. I'm also going to mention that email in the description, so you can just pick it up and send an email saying I'm interested in the PMP exam psychology class. So if you liked this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. That will help YouTube recommend this channel to many others like yourself, and this would be very helpful for those people. Also, for all our future videos, please do subscribe to our channel using the red subscribe button below in this video. Thank you.